Can you get a bigger chest without doing heavy bench press? I believe you can, because over the last few years, I gave up heavy benching and my pecs have gotten bigger than ever. So in this video, I'm gonna show you a simple way to guarantee that your chest gets bigger, why I quit benching heavy, and the exercises that I've been doing that got my chest even bigger in less time. But first, you need to understand what actually builds an awesome chest in the first place. To help you understand, let's go back a couple years and take a look at some of my training footage from when I was benching heavy and doing powerlifting style training. I was benching heavy every single week here, and after a while, I started to get shoulder pain that was so bad that it changed the way I had to put on a t-shirt in the morning because my shoulder hurt so much. Not to mention, my chest just wasn't looking anywhere near as impressive as I thought it would based on how much I was benching every single week. And even after adjusting how heavy I was going and playing around with some different volumes and different bench variations, I realized I was just jamming a square peg into a round hole at this point. And now that I haven't done any benching in the last 2.5 years or so, I've learned a lot more about muscle growth training, and I understand that building a great chest comes down to just 3 things. And you can see right here, look at me, heavy bench pressing on the left here, tons of shoulder pain, spending tons of time training my chest. And then on the right, no benching 3 years later, chest way more impressive, way more developed, and no shoulder pain. Building an awesome chest really comes down to, number 1, giving a good solid effort in the gym. Number 2, using exercises that actually target your pecs. And number 3, doing it consistently for long enough for it to matter. In my case, I was pushing really hard in the gym and I was giving plenty of effort before, but that powerlifting style of training doesn't really target the pecs as well as some other exercises, and I couldn't really do it for much longer because I was so beat up, so it was time for a change. So here's what I've been doing instead that's helped me get way more jacked with a lot less joint pain and while spending less time in the gym. First of all, doing some flies on day 1. First, before I do any pressing, I'm doing some flies. It's a nice warm up for my shoulder. It gets my pecs a little bit cooked, call it pre-fatigue or whatever you want, but I find that it helps me use a lot less weight when it comes time for my pressing. And when I do my pressing, I feel a lot less work in my front delts and my triceps, and my pecs are just getting absolutely smashed. So I do some cable, low to high flies. I really enjoy these. I also do the machine fly, which is just tough to beat. They're very stable, very joint friendly. And yeah, by the time I get into my pressing, everything's feeling good and warm. So I highly recommend throwing some fly variations in there. Whether you do them first or not isn't the end of the world. Next up, I also do some machine pressing. I can push it really hard, really close to failure, and it's just pure pec destruction. It gets insane. I also love doing some dumbbell pressing. I find that this just allows things to move a little bit more freely. Both flat pressing and incline pressing with the dumbbells is awesome. And I like to think of it like a paper clip. If you bend a paper clip back and forth the same way over and over and over, you're gonna break it. But if you unfold it all the way, and then you fold it back, and then you unfold it all the way, you know, it lives a lot longer. And same thing with dumbbell pressing. If you just do barbell pressing over and over and over again, you're bound to run into some issues and some discomfort. The other thing I've been playing around with is doing a little bit of decline pressing. I'm really enjoying these, and I actually swore them off forever ago after watching some video of some guy saying that decline pressing is useless. It doesn't, you know, it's not worth it or whatever. I press decline both with dumbbells and with the Smith machine here. It feels super shoulder friendly for me. I don't know what it is, kind of loads things up, almost like a dip or a push-up it kind of feels like. And yeah, it gives me a really crazy amount of work for my chest, which is awesome. I do still press, so I use just the Smith machine instead of a barbell when I'm pressing. Incline pressing, flat pressing, really enjoy these bad boys. And if I could give you one tip for folks who want to get more work for their chest and avoid some shoulder discomfort with their pressing, I'd highly recommend just gently tapping your chest with the barbell instead of letting it crash down, instead of using a super dynamic movement where you're bouncing the bar off your chest. Maybe even put a little gentle pause right while we have the bar on the chest. That really emphasizes a little bit more control, and I find it keeps the pecs more in the driver's seat as opposed to just loading up the surrounding tissues, especially in the shoulder girdle. So gentle tap or a little pause. I use moderate weights on these bad boys, so I'm never really going below, I don't know, something like 6 or 7 reps. There's no sets of 3 anymore. I'm not doing any more singles. And I do find that playing around with my grip width, going just a little bit narrower than a full-blown powerlifting style wide bench helps a ton. And I also do like playing around with just how much of one exercise I'm doing. So if I flat press for 12 weeks in a row and it's starting to get stale or I start feeling a little bit of discomfort, okay, cool, we're gonna swap that bad boy out for an incline press. We're gonna swap it out for a dumbbell press or a decline press and just find ways to keep me in the game, doing it for longer, because I know I'm targeting the pecs. I know that I'm pushing hard in my training. Now it's just about rotating and pruning those exercises to make sure that I can stay in the game long enough to really develop the pecs that I want. And if you're struggling to get rid of those man boobs that you're hanging on to, you want to build up the muscles in your chest and you want to get rid of the excess fat that's hanging onto your chest, make sure you watch this video next, where I show you a complete guide to getting rid of your man boobs and sculpting the chest that you've always wanted.